Morning, everyone. It's Friday, the January 23rd, I think. Didn't set the alarm last night. This is softball grandpa again, getting ready for the softball season coming up. I was scrolling through YouTube this morning. There's a USA softball played in January, and I'm going to watch that later. I'm going to go pick up some chairs today from Public Surplus. From LA City College, some old oak chairs that I usually like to refinish, buy them for $1 each, and they're great chairs, I didn't set the alarm last night, and I used my phone to set my alarm, and just woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I looked for my phone, and where's my phone? I saw the charger cable, and I went to pull it up, and it was on the floor, and it was under the bed, so I used my shoehorn to, because like my back and my mobility is kind of jacked up right now. So I used my shoehorn to get it out from underneath the bed. I came and make coffee and sit down and watch the news, see what's going on. And, a thought came to me, how did they name shoehorn? And then I looked it up, and, they made, shoehorn was actually made out of a horn. The old people way back in the West, they used to use a horn to help get their shoe on. So therefore, that's where the shoehorn came. And then joke of the day, maybe I'll do that. Hi, Hawkeye. You hear about the one-armed fisherman? He caught a fish this big. My little Hawkeye right here. Maybe I should show this. Do you see him? There he is. That's Hawkeye. Oh, here comes Henry. Henry has to get him back too. Yep. Henry's camera shy. He doesn't like to take pictures. I just send pictures of the dogs to my daughter, and she lives in Utah. And Henry was a pandemic dog. We got him during the pandemic. I haven't had a dog since I was a kid. And I always said, no, I don't want no dogs. Because when I was 18, I had to put my family dog down. His name was Casey. And to go to the vet and have to put your dog down because he can't move. I don't wish that on anyone, because that's a really terrible feeling. And I don't do death well. I literally do not do death well. And when I was a little kid, I thought, one day I woke up and everybody, 5 brothers and sisters and 2 parents, I walked around the house, everybody's sleeping, and I looked at each person. Then after I looked at my parents, I was walking through the hall back to my bedroom, and I thought to myself, I wished that I would be the first one to die. Because I knew that I was not going to do death well. And I don't, but when I do have the comfortable feeling, I am ready to die. I became ready to die over 20 years ago. One day I had the worst migraine headache that I've never had migraine headaches, and I'm clean and sober and excuse me. Such bad headache. I thought, I had to go to the emergency room, because I literally thought I was going to die. And when I thought about that, I had to become comfortable with dying. And I am comfortable with dying. If I was to die right now, I think the best way to die would be on the operating table, because, there's no pain. You're out and under and blah, blah, blah. I've had 13 orthopedic surgeries to my body. An old carpenter that abused my body. And so I pay the price, But anyway, with that, it's 4 minutes and 30 seconds on this video. The thought of the day, ask God for help and mean it. I remember once I got pulled over and I was a little bit drunk, and I was doing cocaine. I had cocaine in the seat. I had all these cigarette packs on my floorboard, and I had beer cans behind the seat. The cops put all these beer cans on top of the the car, and I'm sitting on the jail because I thought they were going to find the cocaine. And I was saying, trying to remember the serenity prayer because I knew I was going to jail. But they didn't they let me go, and I cruised down the road, and I stopped by the liquor store, bought 2 beers, did the rest of the cocaine I had, and went home and called AA. That was one of the times I got sober. But because when I originally got sober, it was in 1987, but my sobriety date is 1991. So I relapsed 3 times before I finally got it. When I went into rehab, and the way I was introduced to rehab, my connection was in rehab. I went to his house to buy some coke, and his wife said, "No, he's in the hospital." And so I went to visit him because I wanted to find out where his connection was. And guess what? That's how I was turned on to the 12-step program. And 28 days in rehab, about 2 months after I visited my friend. I can't remember the exact date, but and then the first day in there, I identified as a newcomer, and I took a chip, and it blew me away that people actually cared. That they actually cared. They came up to me, and they said, gave me a hug and shook my hand, and I didn't understand that. It just kind of blew me away. But it works. It works if you work it. But when I was in rehab, they asked me to read a portion of chapter 5 out of the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I started reading and as I'm reading this, I'm saying to myself, "There's no way that I'm going to do this." Because I fought it from day one. Even though I knew I needed to get clean and sober, because the path I was on was not good. But anyway, for the grace of God, I sit here and I'm able to share my little story. I have more this afternoon. I have to go to pick up some chairs. Bought the new dryer. Couldn't hook it up last night because the gas line wasn't working. So peace out. Be good to everybody, and ask God for help and me.